right, so I'm a little bit worried based on my title in the last presentation that there's going to be a lot more swearing tonight than in normal presentations. So until about an hour ago, this first slide here was all I had. It's bread motherfuckers, the joy of baking. And when I'm really stressed, I like to bake. So I did bake a bunch for you guys over there. And while I was baking and waiting for my scones to come out of the oven, I put together just a few quick slides, less than 3 minutes worth, on how to get started if you also want to begin baking. Baking is really intimidating, I think, for me. I love cooking because I feel like you have a lot of freedom. You can just throw stuff together. Whatever you have in your fridge, you can put together in a saucepan and come up with something delicious. It took me a really long time to get into baking because everybody always talked about how precise everything needed to be, how much tools and equipment and gear you needed, how scientific the process was. But I think that's bullshit. I think you can usually throw something together and bake it and make it turn out okay, and you don't need everything they tell you need. So I have an electric stand mixer. I love it. You don't need it to bake. I got it like 4 months ago. I use it all the time now. It's so much easier, but you can make with your hands, bake with your hands, mix with your hands. People have been baking for centuries without any of those equipment. All you really need is something to measure with, something to mix with, and something to bake in, and that's all. Everything else is just extras that you don't need. It's nice to have. Some of it's like offset spatulas. You're never going to use that unless you really want to make a wedding cake. Step 2, gather your ingredients. A lot of the stuff is just stuff you already have: flour, fat, some sort of butter or oil, sugar, eggs, liquid. Water is fine in a pinch. I substitute water all the time instead of cream in baked goods, and it tastes the exact same. You need a little bit of salt, and if you want to get fancy like I've been recently, you can try to make yeasted breads. That takes a lot of extra work, though. Step 3, bake. And then these are more detailed directions about how to bake that I don't think I have time to go through. But if you guys ever want to bake with me, I do it all the time. You should hang out. And in the meantime, please take some, I'm going to pass around some baked goods. Yes.